when it's connected. Hang on, I gotta wait for them all to connect.
Okay.
So if you go to my page, that's probably the one, because so all their comments are going to come up, so it doesn't matter what page. Okay, it's on my page now. So if you refresh, it should be there. And in the meantime, I am going to just put on a little intro to allow people time to come in.
Oh yeah, there you are. And there
you got it? You got it? Okay, yes. Cool. All right. We'll be right back in 1 minute and, well, maybe not. There it is. We'll be back in 1 minute and 19 seconds with the beautiful Mary Beckman. We're going to get to know her in typical Soulogy fashion because we've never met before, other than about 20 seconds ago. So we'll be right back. What's happening, everybody? Mary Beckman's in the house, and this is our first show of the week, so that means something, and everything seems to be ticking today. We've not met, so I just want to say, and I saw we were trying to connect before, but anyone's haven't figured it out by now, don't write to me. Write to Morgan or Monique. Or Soulogy, what is it? Soulogy, I don't know. SoulogyNetwork@gmail.com. Because if you give it to Todd, he's going to say, yes, let's do it. And then 2 years go by. So sorry about that. But it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to SoulSpeaks 5D. Thank you for coming in and honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us today. So we're anxious to get to know you a little bit. The only thing I know about you at this point is that you have a beautiful divine masculine that is in the picture of your profile, and you're both very striking and together and separately, you know. But I can tell that you're from the weird crowd. So the question is, you know, have you always been this weird, or did you come into the world that way? I mean, or did you have a wake up experience?
I popped right out weirder than that. I was the little kid where the teacher was saying, we're going to talk about how everyone needs water, food, and shelter. And I piped up, this is like 7 years old, and said, and love. So I made the whole class say we needed love. So I was that weird kid, and I was way different than my family. I was definitely the black sheep. And yeah, so I've been doing this kind of stuff for about 18 years though. So I think I kind of popped in late, but here I am. You know, it took a while to shake everything off.
Well, that's typically what people say. You know, everybody seems to, you know, in retrospect, they say, well, yeah, you know, I always had it. And many of the people that come on here have called themselves the black sheep. We realize now it was the golden child, not the black sheep. But some people call it the rogue child. But and then they, you know, go into the system and go into the matrix. They, you know, this is why we came. We came to get conditioned. We came to get some duality doses and programming. And then there's like a reawakening. But you say you've been doing this for about 18 years. Is that what you said? What do you do? What's that reference to?
Just about. Well, I think maybe my first thing was Reiki. A lot of people started out with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first guide was Holy Mother and Archangel, some archangels, and also Clara Barton, who started the Red Cross. That was my first guide.
Is that right?
I didn't know that my I did not know that my guardian angel was Holy Mother Mary. I didn't know. I thought she was just my good friend. And holy ones, I call everybody the holy ones. We're holy ones. They're holy ones. We're all equal. And so they told me late that was, they told me everything right at the moment I needed to know. And I just started helping people, doing different things, going to fairs and being a psychic medium. And I wrote some books along the way, some, obscure illness books. And then obscure illness books, along the way. And I finally got myself to about 2019, and I had a giant purge, literally purging completely. And then even before that, sold a lot of my stuff, got married to my beautiful husband, Tom, and moved. So a lot of things happened. And then I understood I had some light language that was coming in. And then during a class called Karuna and Holy Fire Reiki, I understood that the symbols I was seeing were actually in me, and that I was to write a manual about them. So I just have been working with folks for a while, and this is my new thing is a lot easier and quicker. But the most fabulous thing, definitely, that I've ever been a part of is called Hands of Light on Facebook. It's a group that my friend Ann Mukherjee and I started about a little over a year ago. And people can come in and put their names on the wall if they have permission of family. So if you're putting family on the wall, you have to have permission. You can't just willy-nilly put people up if they don't know you're asking for healing. And we do healing and prayer all day. And so we've had some really awesome miracles, or timing, you might call it timing, but people have gotten better and had some really cool stuff happen. So, and that is just a fun little container. So if anybody wants to know about Hands of Light, look on Facebook. It's Purple World.
Far out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that going on, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening. Like your story of the last 2 years is again, very similar to what's happened to a lot of people, even just in 2021, people, there's been some amazing leaps of faith occurring at an individual level, in their own right, energetic declarations of sovereignty. Because the way I see it, this whole thing is operated on the level of our expansion of our personal sovereignty. And I think healing is a really interesting part of our journey, because we're looking at, obviously we've seen energy practitioners and other types of, healers, or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of them are making a transition where it's become more of a one-off kind of thing. They go to see somebody, and what ends up happening is they basically are taken to a frequency through the collaboration that they can then tap into themselves. So there's a lot of different things changing in that field. And I think that the big factor is self-healing. Have you noticed any difference in your clients overall, over these past few, like say the last year and a half, since 2020 came and blessed us?
Yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Those are the clients I love. Somebody who gets a great opening and then they go away to do their thing.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so happy to be, been a little part of that. I've seen people recently just absolutely rising up in frequency and beginning to see and hear and feel and understand. And it's fabulous. I'm so thankful I made it to this place.
Right.
I'm so thankful.
That's what I was saying to myself last night. I was walking around the house. I talked to one of my kids. I talked to Morgan. She finally got back to her hometown. She's getting settled. I felt good about it. And I was just thinking about all the stuff, everything in Todd's life. And much of what I was thinking about is what we all share. And I was thinking, wow, I am so happy to be here. This has been a hell of a ride. It really has. But what's so amazing about it is what's going to happen from here. Right? Because it's almost like anything that happened within reason. I mean, anything that's occurred, be it in our past, in this incarnation, or even what we've received. The truth is getting elevated itself every single day, and everything's changing. You know, it's almost like, okay, we got everything we need. What do we do now?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're kind of a, you know, like a microcosm of what I'm seeing a lot of and what's happening in the collective, which is you're following the new guidance that you're getting, such as the collaboration with your friend with the wall, and what you're doing with your practitionership.
Yes, I think, and you know what I really love is I love how the visualizations change, or I guess what you would say is you see an image when you go in to work with people or yourself. And I love how I noticed a few years back that it'll change with the seasons, it'll change with the growth, it'll change with who you work with. You know, guides are always coming in and changing. I went through higher self. I'm just a higher self channel now, and that changed. But I've seen things just get peeled right off of a person. It's just beautiful. They're into that right now. It's peeling. And then they've given me some stuff to clear the collective off people lately. Well, that really helps. I'd love to tell you guys that, because boy, that's helped a ton of people lately, and myself, because I'm my own guinea pig, you know, to find out whether this stuff really works. I'm pretty skeptical because my early guides were Mr. Tesla and Professor Einstein. So I'm all about.
You've got all kinds of.
I'm a girl.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. But before we talk about that, I wanted to ask you about Clara Barton.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm a big history buff going way back, and I'm familiar with her story. I don't have a very good opinion of the Red Cross today, you know, but you know, most of those things became part of the apparatus of the Matrix. But very, very incredible story behind her. We won't get into it, but how did that happen? Was that a little bit shocking to have somebody like that come in? Not that she wasn't a prominent human being when she was on the earth, or a prominent soul as she is now, but just the fact that it was somebody, I don't want to say that obscure, because she's not obscure compared to, say, you or me, but did it shock you?
It really shocked me, because I thought that was my guide, Clara. I had no idea who she was until somebody said, that's Clara Barton, and then everybody else did too. And that's what I love about understanding past lives, is that you learn who you were, who the big players are, and then at these days, of course, now we're letting go of all of that. We're letting go of any of the containers of who we were, the big stuff. We let it all go and just become us. But I was gobsmacked. I had no idea. I think I was related to her, and I don't see her so much anymore. A lot of my earlies are gone now, and I just work with certain people through my higher self.
Yeah, that's a good point that you made too, because I've seen that happen, especially in 2021, where we're having to let go of our attachment to some of the aspects that brought us to the party.
Yes.
And I don't know, I look at those things, and I'm at the point now where I'm going, it doesn't even matter. I mean, it doesn't matter how it works. I mean, because the truth is we can tap into any part of the Akashic, the infinite field, whatever you want to call it, the morphic field, the beehive intelligence. So was I a cell or an organ in the body of an aspect that's communicated with me when he or she walked the earth? Was I that person? Was I, I don't know, but there's definitely a reason that Mother Mary came into you and many other people, such as myself and many other people around the world, that's a prominent consciousness that's kind of escorted us through the years. So there is something to say for that. So you pulled in Tesla, Einstein, Clara Barton, Mother Mary. You mentioned higher self. Was there anything else that kind of sticks out?
Well, I've had to say goodbye and thank you so much to a couple of aspects, because I have, like a lot of healers and people on the planet that are doing this type of work, have had some physical issues. And I realized I had an aspect that wasn't so excited about feeling better. So that one, I released that one. And then I recognized I had snarky thoughts in my head, because I'm a joker all day. I got it from my dad. I will just joke at everybody. But I recognized that I had this snarky voice in my head, and I thought it was somebody I agree. We'll let that go. I thought it was somebody else that I was replaying. Okay. But no, that was an aspect. And so I had to let that go. And then I just put the peacock back together and I feel a lot better now. Physically, I have a feeling that physical stuff is going to get better for me. I really do. But feeling better, I guess, emotionally, once I let that aspect go was really great.
Yeah. It's interesting too, to see how everything unfolds for each person too, because sometimes it's in the body, sometimes it's etheric, sometimes it's in your communication with the aspects that you have. And I love the way you explain it, because one of the things that I noticed is that, just through my own experience and talking to other people and observing, is that these aspects that are part of our team, part of our oversoul team, whatever you want to call it, they all seem to have specialties, right? And they, I guess in a way you could say, they kind of have an agenda for their specialty. And at the end of the day, the human is the hero. At the end of the day, there's a reason we're conscious as a human. And that's, like you said earlier, we're all equal. Even I'm equal with my aspects, is what you said. And so that free will choice that came and comes with the discernment and the experience that you've had, that's in itself a step in sovereignty,
It is. And somebody just said aspect or an entity. I'm very clear what an entity or attachment looks like. And as an energy worker, we clear those all day. From people, from ourselves, we just clear them. There they are, and there they. You see what I'm saying? So aspect is completely different. There's multiple aspects of self, and we're talking about aspects.
Yeah, and then again, I could be worm dirt when this whole life is over. And can anybody prove anything? I mean, that's another thing that's been interesting too, has been the involvement in the community. I've been, I think I've been online for like 8 years. Soulogy's 10 years, but really start talking to people, observing people, groups, empath groups, conversations. Like, for instance, on the topic of what you're talking about, 5 years ago, you heard people going, I've got a sage, I got to protect myself. And now you don't hear that as much. And because the perception of dark and light is becoming, gray. You know what I mean? We're zero pointing. We're doing it individually. It's happening collectively, as within, without. So it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, you can talk about it. Implants, a lot of healers. I've seen some experiences, where, like octopus looking things come off of people. I mean, so it was definitely a part of it. And I guess the question for me is, did we draw that energy to us this life or in a previous life, ancestrally? I love what you said about that. What was it? That gnarly voice, and you put it to you dissipated it, and then you actually had confirmation through your body that you said you felt better. How did that happen? What was that?
Not there. It's just not there. Yeah, it's just not there. Yes, I do believe we draw entities to us. They're just us.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love this lady. Yeah. That's right.
We just need to say thank you. I don't know why you're here. Someone may, the person I'm working on may have called you, but at this point now, please release, go back with the beautiful many in peace, ease, and neutrality.
Yeah. And I think another thing and it's so funny, because we looked for all these, in the complications of this finite incarnation, we look for all these thunderbolts to grab, like these holy grails, but it's just such a simple human empowered action that actually does it, right? I mean, it's what I mean? It's like the human just says, hey, you know what? This is going to change. I'm done. No, whatever whatever it is, the human finally, and that's an energetic thing. Don't you think? I mean, that's something like when that voice was in your head and you finally just went, you know what the hell is this? Boom, I'm done. So energetically, the human is, I think, coming into this awareness and understanding and actualization of that power.
Yes, that empowerment piece is huge. I think once we know we can talk to anybody, we can talk to ourselves, we can talk to, I just call them the holy ones, but they're not separate from us. They
Right.
are standing right in front of me. They are right there. And so once I understood that, and then once I understood I could talk to my body, I constantly say, why do you hurt? Why do you hurt there? Why is this process going on? Why did you have to have diarrhea for 2019? Seriously. And there's a reason for everything in perfect design. Yeah. And so, yeah, we're coming into our own empowerment. I mean, there's a lot in the metaphysical community right now. I'm sure you've noticed everybody arguing and people saying, if you don't believe this way, well, then you got to go. I tell you, during this whole thing, I never really chucked anybody off social media or really released very many. Anybody that was just being awful, well, yeah, they go away for a minute. But seriously, we all don't need to believe the same thing. I mean, if we did, we'd be boring. And I think it's now time to notice that I don't consent for certain things. If you don't consent for certain things, you just say it and go on with your day.
That's right. Stay in your own lane. See, and that's, you know, people, and that's a pretty, I mean, that's true what you said about the, what would you call that? Arguing, or, you know, it's just an ego engagement, really. We've all been there. We can't say we haven't. But the thing is, and this is where I get puzzled, is this shit's flying this year. 2020, I heard somebody say that come on the show, they said that their, what do you call them? Holy ones, their team had told him, and he was a pretty good channel, that more people woke up in 2020 than in the previous 10 years, which is a powerful time. But to me, in 2021's already like exponentially, you know, 100 times the 12th power bigger than 2020, and it's only 4 months into it. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't understand how I'm not criticizing or judging. I'm just being realistic, because take care of number one, to thine own shall be true. I'm watching the circus going, how the hell do you even have time to concern yourself with other people? Because I don't know about you. Look, I woke up this morning, I've got red splotches all here. My beard's all, I almost shaved my beard off today. Morgan would have had a fit. I am so chafed. And this happens to me every time we get big doses, because I get dehydrated and I drink a lot of water. But yeah, it's a great point you bring up. And I guess the way we do it is just through our own example, our own energy. What do you think?
I don't know. I gave up fighting when I moved. There's no, it's useless, and it just doesn't, it's just this way. And the holy ones have told me that we need to just lay down our fighting implements, be done with it now. Many of them came through to say there's two sides, and these are the sides that are fighting, and this is the road. There's many of us now that are on the middle road. I think a lot of us were always on the middle road. And I'm not interested in people pointing out what they perceive as my own flaws. I can see them really clearly. And believe me, when I see one, I try to work on it, but I don't always see everything, you know, and it's timing, and I'm not going to judge another person. And I appreciate when they don't judge me. Yeah. But I've had a lot of problems in my life. And, you know, you just have to say, I forgive myself and go on, help people.
Enough, right? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And look, oneness is oneness. So I don't give a, man, I'm kind of feisty today. It must be all that energy that came in. But I don't care what the topic is. I do agree with you totally in terms of, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about making my own declarations, which is not something I haven't done before, but in a different way. Really saying what you're saying, going, okay, here, let's test it. I'm a sovereign being. I am not an American citizen. I'm a galactic Earth citizen. I don't recognize borders. I don't recognize taxes. I don't recognize these laws. I will not be vaccinated. I will not wear a mask. And I'm going to work every day, and I love the world. You know, something like that. But that's to me, I think we're going to start seeing people in a balanced way declaring their sovereignty. And I think it's going to be coming through the throat chakra. But I agree with you, because oneness is oneness. It doesn't matter what the issue is. If you see something that's imbalanced, you're in victim consciousness, period. Because you're seeing either yourself or someone else as a victim, which means it's imbalanced, and that's on you, because the line of separation comes from ourselves. You either walk the talk or you shut the F up.
Maybe that's why you cleared your throat chakra out today. Maybe you need
I don't know. They don't know about that. That's why I'm struggling over here, but like moving around, because I'm still trying to, you're probably right. You're probably exactly right.
I was going to ask you if I could I could give you the codes there a minute ago, but wow. You certainly have. Yeah. Well, you know what? I have nothing but a bunch of love. Well, I'd say these days, nothing but a bunch of love coming at me. And I really appreciate that, because for years I didn't have that. And if you ever listen to Katie Indicrow, she talks about how love and some stuff can kind of get stuck. And I think love and abundance and everything can kind of get stuck, because once I kind of unstuck myself, I got nothing but all of that. So people don't usually say a bunch of negative stuff to me. I mean, I've had my share of people in the community, but I'm talking about like just out on the street, people don't challenge. And I think it's because I run a smooth energy and I'm not going to challenge anybody. Why should I? People are having it. This is a hard time for some folk, and we're going to be kind to people. We need to be kind to people.
Yeah, and respect their declarations, whatever they may be.
I remember a couple of years ago, it was known that we are ready to become quite sovereign and say what we will do and what we won't. And I remember doing that all day. Not going to do this. Not going to do that. Not going to do this. And we are seeing quite a divide. We're seeing that beginning divide of you cannot come here unless you have a piece of paper. Okay. Well, some of us saw that a long time ago. And I just think that we all just have to make our own decision.
That's right.
Got to make our own decision.
That's right. That's right. And that's exactly right. And a lot of people have talked about this period for a long time. For the 10 years I've been in these communities, they call it the Great Divide. They cite the Bible where they separate the wheat from the whatever the other thing is. But we don't know how that works. We had people for 5 years telling us there was going to be two earths that separated, and the good people were going here and the dumb people going over here.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about it. Nobody's got this stuff figured out. Nobody. I mean, we can say we do. We have the knowing, we have the feeling, we have intuition, we have telepathy. There's a lot of things happening from an energetic standpoint. I mean, we don't know, but how do we know anything but our own personal knowing? And in some way, that drives the collective experience. And so, it's game time. I think it is. This stuff's, as much as people are expanding, the distortions are expanding as well. So the choice is going to be, that's why I think everything's so loud right now. How about you? Like on a personal level in 2021, have you been triggered? Do you get triggered? What do you do? Is it different now?
Well, you know what? Let me just tell you something that Spirit in their infiniteness gave me. I made a mistake with a friend of mine, and I pushed that person because Spirit said go. And if Spirit says go, I'm going to do exactly what they say, because they've never pushed me in the wrong direction. So I pushed this person and lost that individual for a little bit because they were not very happy with me while they were working through their own stuff. And that individual rose up and is just doing great now. However, at that moment, when I was sitting thinking, oh boy, did I do a boner there? Spirit gave me a number on people's faces so I can easily tell how triggerable are you. So if you're a 1 through a 3, I have to hold you so kindly because you've had some issues. A 3 to about a 5, you've done some work. And then as it goes up to 10, I can say, hey, you're a whatever, and I only ever say stuff in love, but I am somebody who's extremely direct, because if somebody is coming to me to take a look at them, okay, they're going to give me their dollars to take a look at them. You don't want somebody just saying, oh, beloved, this is what I see for you.
Like the lady, you sounded like the lady in Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah.
What did she say? This house is clear. No, that's
So
a good, yeah. But I mean, they're coming to you, you know, and I mean, that's part of your role. I mean, that's part of your mission. One of your missions is the gifts that you have, and then working with people. So I would totally think that the more direct you are, the better it is anyway, regardless, right?
not always, because
Believe me, I'm married to Morgan Lee, so and
and
she's a pragmatic.
yeah, boy, I read everything she has to say. I'll tell you. So the thing is I think it's important to be direct and kind and loving, because I think people understand that it's held in kindness. But if the holy ones want to say something, who am I to judge? You know.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
true.
I thank them for that thing, because my first indication to chat with people is to make a joke. That's not always great in 2021. We're not a jokey bunch in 2021, because people will pop on and think you're saying something. What do you mean about that? Dude, I'm making an obscure reference to a 70s cartoon. It's not about you. You know what I mean?
But see, that's the thing too, right? Like we're lucky at Soulogy. We don't get, I mean, 10 years, we get very rarely do we get. What we do get is the frequency of agenda. And these are things that are in all our lives. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I'm like you, I don't really care for the blocking and stuff. But, you know, on a personal level, like with the example you have, somebody comes in, they open up and say, can you help me? That's basically what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then for you to interject, that's a natural flow, right? That's a natural equal energy exchange. But when somebody comes into your field and butts in and you know, which to me is like a derogatory comment on a post or a message to you or whatever, it's none of your effing business, right? Stay in your own lane. And I don't think the universal energy in 2021 and going forward is going to waste any time reminding us when we're out of our lane.
Yes. And so people who are just saying, if you don't believe as I do, you'll be shown.
Yeah.
Because
so, yeah.
I think it was around, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No. That's just me still trying to. I'm good.
Okay. So around my birthday, I kept saying, higher self, can you show me where I'm being stubborn? Because I'm an Aquarius. I'm stubborn. I don't want to be stubborn, but sometimes I am. Could you show me perfectionism? And so I remember for like 2 weeks, there were all these examples coming in my life, because I had to clear that. And I had to clear that even more, because to just jump on a high frequency every day, you kind of can't be resistant. So that was a job I took on myself this year, and probably will keep doing it.
Yes.
We're just
yeah.
doing
I mean, and this is what, you know, a lot of people, a lot of people talked about grief in the last, well, you know, throughout all of our journeys, but I mean, but in the last few weeks, like March, there was a lot of people talking about grief. I wrote a little piece, and the first line said, fear has nothing on grief. Like I was reflecting during that period, and but I think what you're saying is these things are opportunities. They're not here to hurt us. They're here to help us to do exactly what you've done in terms of the stubbornness and the perfection and that type of thing.
Absolutely. And if you continue to ask your higher self to show you some examples, they'll show you all kinds of stuff. I saw a person who hurt me and what they did, and I was able to clear it. So I just am thankful for that. Thank you. It's all an opportunity to get better. It's what it is.
Right.
When we're triggered, we need to look, you know, hopefully we can look around and find out, where does that actually go? And grief, yes, absolutely. I've been helping lots of people with grief. Had to go through that when I lost my dad a few years ago and moved. I moved right around that time. And so my dad's not my gatekeeper when I do mediumship, so I still see him all the time. And grief. It'll kick you.
Yeah, it will. And I love what you said too, because it's one thing that's always been very obvious to me since I came out, you know, as a baby, was if you ask for something, you will get it. people, in the community too, they'll be like, oh my God, she can do that and he can do that. And which is really saying I can't do this and I can't do that. And it's an inferiority kind of program. But the fact is, anybody that has the desire to expand and grow, the universe is going to bring those opportunities to you. And that the universe is the universe, right? I mean, you're going to see those things. It's just a matter of understanding now that they're here to help us, not hurt us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they certainly surprise me all the time. They told me just recently, you're actually not doing your real job.
Really? So when was this?
What is that? Oh, that was the other day. They don't, you know how they don't say the whole thing. They're
of course.
Say the whole
Yeah,
thing.
of course.
And so I thought, oh, I wonder what it could be, because to me, the codes that's a big deal, because it really does help a lot of people. But but once I release them, once that book is out and I release them, they belong to humanity. They don't belong to me anymore.
Yeah.
So.
See, I think the dynamics are changing so much, and for me, because I'm just I just have a curious mind. I've always been this way, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at this, especially the last few weeks. There was something really changed, and I've talked about it on the shows. Something changed in my consciousness, and I saw enough out there that other people as well. It was something about how things operate and what it really looks like, and it's tied to telepathy and intuition and sovereignty and taking action, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's like you take action based on what you get, and yet you have to let go of whatever you think is going to happen from the action you took. And then if you find this magic space, which is our natural state, something comes in on the other side of that energetic action, of the energy of the action you took in the physical, that's far beyond anything you could have imagined. And then you just keep going. I mean, it feels like everything is going our way. That's how I feel. How do you feel?
And really fast. We just got to get out of the way. Yeah. So those who are resistant are having the problems right now. Those that are not resistant are just flying. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I remember I listened to Jason. I've been listening to him for a few years. And when he said, hit the master line, did you get that?
Yeah.
He says it's going to be fast. Yeah. And I went and laid down and I said, I command to hit the master line. Woo! And that is the fastest meditation ever. And now you can kind of feel it now as time's gone on. You can feel that life is just fast, 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 fast.
Yeah.
So whatever he's looking at to get his understanding, I find him very fascinating. Wish I was coming to your gig this year. I've asked 432 times if I can come. Spirit says not this year. So I have to make my foundation this year, but I hope to hug all of you guys that I've watched for years.
Wow. One of these. Yeah, I'm excited about that. And these are the new templates, right? I mean, it's not because we've had such a physical, literal, interpretative type of, method of functioning. Okay, I got to understand that. We've got to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get there. But all that stuff's gone away. And we've had enough people come on here, and I've talked about it in my own with Soulogy. You can't apply any of the old templates to what we're doing. Now we're getting downloaded. We've been getting downloaded templates, right? Kind of like, for instance, like let's say Sacred Union. Morgan and I had many encounters. One time Jesus and Magdalene came. They said, here's our template. Take this. It is now yours. At some point, you'll expand the template. And I believe that's what we're doing. I think, when people say going back to original blueprint, I think everything that we came into this world with, whether we were conscious of it or not, we were leaving with. It's us, right? We're talking Trinity, Trinity templates, whatever you want to talk, Christ consciousness, whatever. But what we've experienced, that's new. So was it just the experience, or do we take our wisdom or Akashic, whatever you want to call it, add the wisdom and create an expanded truth, an expanded love, an expanded courage, or whatever,
I think it's that, because when I go to the halls of records or the Akash or the halls of Amenti, when I go there, recently now they show the old blueprint, and it's time now if the client's ready, it's time now to do away with that if they're ready.
Right on.
The new one they show me is round like a pizza, and you can feel the letters on there. And so I'm a bottom kind of person, and I read it. So it's very interesting. I can't remember the guy's name, but I always listen to Tim Wilde, and Tim's friend, that's the name I can't remember. He calls it a gold print. You know why I think he might call it a gold print? Someday I'd love to ask, is that's what it looks like now. It's gold. And if you've noticed in your travels, gold is big, the sun, all of that's where the big stuff is coming from right now. So when I read the bottom of those prints, those, what would you call it? A blueprint, maybe.
Yeah.
Timeline. Not really a timeline, but your blueprint. That's where the new info. So if people are willing to chuck everything and start new, it's possible right now like crazy. So I do think you bring who you were, you know, us that are galactic brought our galacticness, and us angels brought that. And then we came down here and we had to do the hard stuff, and we finally met our soul family, and we finally rose to Christ consciousness. And now we're ready to change what a gold print. There she goes too. She calls it that too. So down at the bottom, you might be a healer, a teacher, whatever, right? I got a word that I can't quite see yet, and that's what they're going to give me. And I don't know what it is. And they know I like to know at the very last minute. Because
I don't think they give anybody a choice on that, you know. You're probably going to be a unicorn. You're probably going to be because no, seriously, you know, this is interesting too. And for someone with your experience, I want to ask you about this. So we have, many of us have had angelic, galactic, elemental. I mean, there's certain components, right? But this year for me, in just again, in my experience and what I'm exposed to, there seems to be a stronger galactic voice. And I know the galactic is part of the monad, part of the oversoul team, but it just seems like they're right next to us, right? I mean, like I feel the mission. Now I understand from, in a way, you know, let's just say at this stage of the game, I understand that this is a playground and this is a university, and that we are in no danger. I understand, but at the same time, specific to this mission, or specific to this series of incarnations, let's say the Earth's ascension, the Earth's expansion, there seems to be a very strong galactic voice coming in louder and louder and louder in 2021. How do you feel about that? Do you have any, and there's no right or wrong answer, obviously, but do you feel any of that? Or are you getting it from other parts of our family?
I'm a galactic angel, seraphim. So I'm Syrian and Arcturian. So that's my family. So the work I do with the coding is through Archangel Metatron. He's my other guide. And the Arcturians and Ascended Master Katumi. That's who holds this giant ring of golden light around my work. And so I work with many galactics and many angels, but they all come through my higher self. Before I did that little piece of becoming higher self channel, I talked to everybody and their dog would come and talk to me. And it wasn't necessarily that great. I had like 50 million thousand guides. I had a lot of guides, boy, from all realms. And then I had to say, I can only do this because it was too hangy on me as weighing down. So I let everybody go, became a higher self channel, and then only one came back with me. And then eventually a couple more came back, and now I just have a small amount. But yeah, galactics all day. I work with them every day.
You're like a cosmic switchboard operator before you made that move. And I've seen that, especially when I first woke up, because there was it was planned, I'm sure, but there was probably in the first 2 years, I had to run into 12 or 15 mediums. You know, I guess there was something happening where I wasn't pulling it in, and they would come in and trigger something, right? Like, you know, whatever. But what I noticed, because what happened to me was I went to a reading by a really powerful medium who was a friend of mine, and I'm in the session because the mother had a son who had died from an overdose, heroin overdose. That was the point of the session. And this kid came into me and kind of started everything, right? But what I'm getting at is that watching my friend do quote unquote sessions, they were more like a dog and pony show. There wasn't like vital information. It was, and nothing wrong with it, but there was a standard medium kind of experience. You know, let's contact your dead mother, or, you know, whatever the case is. Interesting, entertaining, informative, but it wasn't like the type of work I'm seeing people do these last few years, like you do, where they're actually expanding themselves and expanding the other person. So I think that's a good point that you make. You made a choice and you took control of your gifts. That's what it sounds like.
And I think you become more of an evidential medium at that point, because you can really hear so much better. And Jennifer was saying, have I had periods of silence? Absolutely. We went through quite a few of those. They described it to me as my walk in the desert when I was chatting with Jesus. I call him Master Jesus, or Grandpa. That's my grandpa. And he told me, take your time in the desert. So I had to do that. I had to take my time a couple times. And I've had those Phoenix deaths. I've had 2 of them, where it was explained to me by a beautiful channel friend of mine, Marty Angeloni. She explained that what I was seeing was, I was seeing my guides constantly come out of the house and say, you okay out there on the porch, or do you want to go home? You want to come in? And I said, I think I'm going to stay. And Holy Mother told me, well, it's going to be hard. And I said, well, I want to see how it turns out. And that was when I had a year of diarrhea. Sorry, can I say diarrhea on your show?
This is Soulogy. You can say whatever the fuck you want to. We're not uptight.
That word. He doesn't like me to say his name or the word diarrhea, so I got to be careful.
Oh, who's that? Who's
my husband.
Oh, your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our little bird friend just popped in again. It always pops in while we're doing a show at important times. So whatever you're talking about, they're accentuating it.
So yes, the silence. And there is actually like a little lull right this minute. So hopefully everybody's having a nap, because we have to learn to ride those waves, because the energy is really freaking high, but then pretty soon we get to sleep a little bit more. And I'm hoping everybody understands that it's cool not to get as much sleep as you, if you really think about it and you're not all emotional about it, you can recognize that you're not that tired. Come on now.
You're right. Right. I talked to, so many people. You know, so many people. There's Tom Beckman.
He's a stock tired.
I'd love to have you and Tom on together. I think that'd be interesting.
He's pretty fun. He's learning to work with his guides, because he drew those codes when they came through.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, these connections that have been happening, we obviously have had a lot of people come on, because we recognize, and we were told, we were guided, we were shown through channelings and such that this is part of what needs to be, the awareness of which needs to be expanded. This is part of our role, you know, Morgan and Todd, Soulogy, whatever. And so it's interesting, because they're sitting down with a couple like you and Tom. There's a lot of code, you know, in between the words, just seeing the combination of frequencies that create the vibration that you guys are. Right. So we'd love to have you on sometime if you're open for it. If Tom's open for it, and it looks like he plays a guitar, so he's more than welcome to bring the guitar.
Oh, yeah. That's great. He's got a new album coming out pretty quick. I will send you something too. I think you'd like the music, but yeah, we will do that, because we have found a way of just being peaceful all this time together, all day long.
Yeah.
All day long. And we're still peaceful. We had our first fight the other day in 6 years. And really, we just don't fight. And as it was going on, I was thinking, you go. I just kind of want to see what was going on, even though it was awful. And the next day we were totally fine again. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And if you're going to have your first fight in 6 years, it's going to happen in this energy. But it's you know, I mean, we just went through a big thing, but it wasn't. It was like, you know, we came in a short version. We came to the understanding. There was a huge energy came in. There was huge shifting. There was silence, a couple discussions, and we knew what we needed to do. And we did it in peace, like you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But things came up because the human freaks out, right? The human part of us is the one doing the heavy load here, the heavy work. The human's the one that has to detach from the old concepts. Well, we're obviously something to each other. Does that make sense? So we're supposed to live on different sides of the world for an indefinite period of time? Because with COVID, with whatever, you don't know. So there is something new happening through these types of connections, but they're not necessarily have to be romantic. It's actually an energetic force or a consciousness that's pervading into our collective consciousness through these personal stories, which are sometimes couples and we're two or more together.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, I'd love to meet him.
He's a good guy. I'm sure lucky. I feel very lucky. He was, we went to first grade together.
Wow.
And then we didn't see each other for, we knew each other when we were in teenage years. Now we didn't see each other for a long time.
Did you ever have a thing for him?
No, I was kind of more open. I like everybody, if you get what I mean.
Somebody was on the other day and she was like, yeah, somebody was in the day and it was, I forget who it was, but you never saw it coming. She's like, yeah, I was very promiscuous.
Oh, that's not what I'm saying. I was playing
I know that.
in there for a while.
I know.
So it turned out when we met again on Facebook, I was living with my partner and he had just gotten divorced and we lived on the same street and we didn't know it.
Holy shiitake mushrooms. No, that's a wake-up experience, right?
Yeah. And right after that, all kinds of stuff went down and he and I have been married for however long we've been married. God, it just went out of my head. But
right.
But it's not the body you're in. It's the love and the remembrance that you had from all those times you were together. And I really truly believe that we came back to be together again. Yeah,
absolutely. There's a lot of big shit. And I mean that with respect and reverence. There's a lot of big stuff happening. There's everybody here is a player. And I don't mean, we know that we're equal. We know how the universe is set up. We understand this. But this point in time, this is it. This is the coronation. This is the reason we came. So there's a lot of powerful energy on this earth right now, regardless of what any picture anybody wants to paint. I mean, there's some major stuff going on. It's not that we're not human. It's actually, to me, like we're bringing the human to that level of equilibrium with all these aspects that have gotten us here. We're them now. We're them now. You're giving me the code that I used to get from upstairs, right? Mm-hmm. You are, and everyone else.
Yeah, the improved human, that's who we are now. And learning that we can do so many things that we were led to believe we couldn't, right. Or that we needed a guru, or that we needed a church, or that we needed a structure to bring those things through. And it's just not true. We just need ourselves.
That's right. Yes, that's right. And I think we're going to see very quickly some what we would refer to as supernatural things and supernatural beings, which really, because the way I see it, we've all been in dimension. We've all had the experiences we've had, lucid dreams, the abilities that we have in the quote unquote out of body, right? In that field, we're embodying everything else. Why wouldn't we embody our ability to teleport, our ability to instantly manifest? You know, I mean, it makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. It makes sense to me.
Once somebody learns that they can come into your studio and give you a kiss on the cheek while they're sitting over here in Tacoma, Washington, they're going to want to do that.
Morgan does that all the time. Yeah. I told her, get your hands off me. I'm trying to do a show. No, good.
That's what happens. Yeah.
No, it is true. It's true. I don't know if you heard, but we had the second night she got into quarantine, we had an experience that we've had a lot of etherical, herioscamos, but this one, it usually goes etherical, then it comes into physical, right? Like the body can feel it. This started with the physical. And and we were like, holy shit. I mean, like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, because, when you compare notes so again, that's not about Todd and Morgan. It's about potential. And
Yeah.
we could take any of us, we could take our greatest vision of what it could be, and whatever it's going to be is going to be far beyond that. That's how I feel
Isn't that
about it.
exciting? I think that's what that kind of stuff that keeps me awake at night, thinking of all the possibilities of the coolness that's going to be happening. Because if we think this is cool,
Yeah. People talk about med beds, and I'm going, not that med bed. I'd love to have a med bed. I've gone up to Nocturian. Many of us have had, but we're the med bed.
We are the med bed.
We're looking at what we are. I'm looking at a computer. I'm part of a collaboration where we're projecting our energy across the country, across the world. But what I'm looking at is me. Yes. I have this ability. I have the ability to communicate with you, just like you said, and touch someone on the other side of the world. Right?
That's absolutely true. And, I always wanted to get some of those devices because I think the devices are cool. I used to have what do you call that, little TENS a long time ago. And I was told, get a Healy, and a Healy works. That works. And if anybody needs to help your energy, that works. However, Holy Ones kept telling me the codes I do is just like a Healy. So I am the med bed. And so are you guys.
That's right. That's
figure out how to do that stuff. And there's many ways to figure this out. Not anybody has the one way. And there's a lot of people out here that are saying that they know. And if, you don't think like them, then, it's not. We all have the ability to do all of it. Right.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I saw a video from somebody that's pretty prominent. I didn't even see the video. I saw the title, and it said, I don't remember the exact words, but it said, and it could have been a great video. I don't know. And I'm not staying in my own lane. But if I go too far with it, I saw something. It said, watch this, you'll be fixed. So without getting out of my lane, I took that in. I said, that made me uncomfortable. What am I going to do? What am I missing in myself? Right. But you're right. And really nothing is sticking. Nothing that's sticking. That's not really unity consciousness, Trinity energy. That's not anything that's got any duality construct to it is falling apart. It just won't stand.
It is. And, shoot, now I got so excited about being my own med bed, I forgot what I was going to say.
That's ascension amnesia. That happens all the time. It happens all the time on this show.
It really is. It's a little device you could get that runs a lot of programs and actually really helps. I know people that use that, but it's to me, it's like a little stepping stone until you can get you get to your own ability to do that.
That's right. Yeah, just like our downloads, just like our traumas, our zero pointing and shadow work, and you're right. Just like crystals, just like Reiki. You said I started with Reiki. A lot of people started with Reiki. That's what you said, and it's true. Yes. But everything, the universe is not stagnant. We're constantly graduating, right? This is a big graduation, though.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, I'm sorry.
You're good.
I wanted to tell you what the Holy One said the other day that was so interesting. It's exactly what you just said. They said the codes, when I pass them, are going to go into a person's body and be what they need them to be. I already knew that because they're living. However, then the people that receive them, if they want to be a teacher, they are going to manipulate them in their own way. So exactly what you're just saying, everything is changing as we rise up and stuff's going to fall away. Okay. And then I'm assuming other people, they told me the other day also, I'd love to hear what you said about that, you would say about this, but they told me of awakened people on earth right now, 30% have a code or codes.
I'm not sure I know what that means.
I don't either.
Oh, you mean, okay, I can see what you're saying. So if 30%, so are they saying 30% of the world's awake? Or
no, they're
30%
saying,
of the people that are awake. Okay.
Yeah. Have codes within them that are going to come out to help people.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. A lot of people have talked about, a lot of people, including Morgan, since I met her, 5+ years ago, talked about there's going to be a time when we're put to work. And I believe that time is now. Like I
Yes.
believe that you mentioned Jason earlier. Franco's forecasting and intel matches Sandra Walters. I'm missing a couple of people, but May 15th this is Jason's. May 15th, it starts, right? The homecoming starts. He said when I called him, he said, about the Soulogy Fest, which was May 28th, right? He said, Todd, this is occurring at the peak of this new way of life for us, because he said, we'll come in on the 15th, take about 10, 12 days to get used to it. And it's literally more of what you've been experiencing, what other people have been experiencing. Maybe it's a little early, but yeah, I think that, I think now is the time we're going to be put to work. Those codes that you're referring to, Judith Kuzel was another one. Those codes that you're referring to, are coming online. I totally see that. This is the only time I've ever felt, and I'm not saying I'm right, but when people talk about first waivers and we're star seeds and this and that and this and that, I'm like, just another label of separation. Let's be humble here, okay? This is me talking to me. But lately, I do recognize in myself and a lot of contemporaries, this community, I think we're a lot bigger energetically than we know. And the small, powerful minority that we are, whether it's 1%, 10%, whatever, it's not about the physical head count. It's about the energy that each one of us has come into. And I think that is a select group, not in a, snotty way, but let's just say that group, because everyone has something to offer. Everyone in the world, everyone here on the earth is a brave, valiant soul, no doubt. They're a master, but there's a plan, and we're part of that plan. That's our part of the plan. That's all I'm saying. And
we have a job to do, even if we're just holding our light on our grid point, so the light can come through us into the earth and make things happen. That's a good day. If that's all you can do is let the light come in through you on that day, and you have to nap for the rest of the time, totally good.
That's right. We can't appraise our lives by the old means of measurement. How much money you got? What do you look like? How much do you weigh? What clothes do you wear? How many likes do you have? F all that. We had I was part of this sacred circle of silence that Morgan and a few put, and this was a download. It was one of those things. And Morgan doesn't like being out there. You know that. And she's, I got to do this. We got to do this. And then boom, there was a synchronicity with a sister. Boom, boom. But what I'm getting at is watching and being a part of that and seeing, which was really, to me, a really powerful mother goddess, feminine presence. No words needed. This is what's rising in all of us. And if I look at that one piece, I was looking at the individual people on the Zoom screen, which, out of 138 people, I think 132 were women, and rightfully so, because y'all led the way. But what I was so amazed at, as I looked at them, I thought to myself, oh my God, they've been doing that for 20 years, right? With no notoriety, in anonymity. You could see the connection that they had. And that's what you're talking about. That what I observed is probably the most powerful thing I've ever seen. And it's been going on all this time. And just the fact that anyone would become aware in itself is an activation. So.
Absolutely. I love working in big groups. It just spreads, and it's so powerful. So, and we've all learned that we can do that from home, can't we?
That's right. Well, that's right. Or I can be on the beach in Adelaide as soon as I get off with you, right? But you know what I'm saying is and here's the other thing. It's a way of life. So it and it's energy, so it feeds and it grows if you feed it. Look, we unconsciously fed the programming. Our energy got siphoned off. We can go to whatever narrative we want, archons, reptilian, whatever. But now we know. So now we're in control, right? By giving up control. We're actually in control. So, but we have to use it. The more we use it, the more prominent it becomes, the more doable it becomes, right?
That's so funny. So I know some of my friends are on this call. They're going to hear you say that. I've talked about you come in control by releasing control so
Right.
many times. It's hard to explain though until people kind of figure it out, because when we hold on to control and perfectionism and resistance and all of that, we're really just stopping ourselves just right there.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to let go. You have to look. I mean, and there's so many different examples of this, but I'm a real big believer because of this show, because what I've been what I've been given, Morgan and I, that the most powerful code is in a situation like this. Now, two people open, a lot like a session atmosphere, and you have the vortex of all the people that are watching live and on a replay, because there's no linear. And so this is real-time information. And it's important when people talk about, like you were talking about in 2019, boom, 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 boom. You made these personal decisions, slamming the door behind you, going, I don't really know what I'm getting into, but I'm riding the wave. And no, they don't tell me anything beyond the moment. I just know I'm supposed to keep walking. And it's like Harrison Ford in that movie where you take a step and a stone appears, right? I mean, this is the new way of life, but it works. And you know, I mean, it's just absolutely effing amazing to think where we've been and where we are now. And I know you could speak to that.
Well, I can. It was actually earlier than 2019, but once my dad passed away, I released myself out of a situation that had dogged me for my whole life.
Yeah.
Shut that door. And I remember my guide said, "You're done." My guides didn't exactly say move to Tacoma. I mean, who would think? I mean, I always thought I'd live in Seattle.
Where were you living? Where were you living when?
I'd lived in Seattle for a long time.
Oh, you were in Seattle. You went to Tacoma.
And both of us lived in Seattle, but we moved to Tacoma, which turned out to be great. I've met a lot of wonderful people here. But when Spirit says go, you kind of got to go, because if you don't, you're going to go. And if you go against your soul, you're going to get all kinds of different, we've all done that. We've all known it's a flappy little flag, and then it's a big flag, and it's a giant flag. So Spirit finally said, you are done being like this. You got to fly. Yeah. So I just said, and I moved. Yeah. And I didn't move very far, and probably this isn't my last move, but and Spirit said, hey, you're going to do something else. So who knows what that is. Yeah. But yeah, I'm appreciative of every gift. I'll tell you that.
That's how it works, isn't it? I mean, we were living in Hawaii, we had to go back and forth. So we're like, okay, I'm going to Hawaii. That was guided, didn't make sense. Didn't have any money. Anyway, so we got it worked out. It was a very difficult, very tough time. And I mean, she literally was going to get on a plane the next day because we just couldn't make it. And so we get there and everything's cool. I mean, it's great. It's Mother Kauai. It's just incredible. And then we get a download. You're going to go to the mainland. You got to sell all your stuff and just go. So we borrowed money to go to the States, to go mainland. We didn't know what we were going to do. And within 24 hours before we left, because we said, hey, we're leaving. We had 7 days from the day we got the download. We're on a plane. And the next thing you know, you can stay here for a week. You can stay here in my apartment for 3 weeks. You can stay here. We ended up going to Yelm, Washington for 5 or 6 weeks and staying on it.
Oh, yeah. Close.
Yeah. We're in Yelm. Yeah. And so one thing after another, but that's how it works. And even like if I look at the recent, what just happened, these last, if I can't even draw a line here, but for sure, let's say the last 2 or 3 days, even the last 24 hours, what Morgan's experienced, what I've experienced, what we're seeing from this new consciousness that we all have is amazing. It is mind-blowing, but it would not happen unless the humans were true to themselves. Mm-hmm. And just the definition of that has changed in ourselves and relationships and everything. because limitless is limitless, isn't it? I mean,
did you notice in Yelm it's exit 111?
yes, I did.
That's so close to my house. I had no idea you guys had
how
a little.
far?
Yeah.
I went to Tacoma. I'm thinking Portland. How far is Tacoma? Tacoma's northwest, right? It's Mount.
Yeah, it's only like what, 15 minutes up? No, 30 minutes up the road to Yelm, I think.
Okay, I think I went through there. It's just been such a, I mean, it's just been such a everything. But again, you wake up today and you meet a new friend and your code's exchanged and energy's felt, and I'll get off here in a minute and I'll walk outside to this little forest and go, what the hell's going on here? Like, thank you. I mean, I don't know how to, you just kind of swim in it, and but it feels good, doesn't it? And I'm not saying this in judgment of anyone, but someone like yourself, we've all been subjected to it. The best people are the people that come on this show who have these incredible gifts, skills, and abilities, yet they're so human and they're so real. You know what I mean? And when they still have to spray when they go out of the bathroom like everybody else, I mean, this is it to me. This is it. That, like, we're finally accepting ourselves, and as a result, becoming properly detached from what used to control us, the storyline.
Well, it's a relief, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a relief when you meet your soul family, and it's a relief when you find people that are like you, and it's a relief when you can say goodbye to folks that have been hurtful and say thank you for being so hurtful because you made me. Thank you.
That's right. Well, too, and that's another thing that we've noticed in the last few days in a very good way. Those types of things are coming full circle. Like, one of the things that I did for a long time, was, and I still do it. Somebody upset, somebody like you're talking about, I'll pull them up every day and see where I'm at with it. Right.
Oh,
see where I'm at with it. Yeah. Because, we're talking mother, father, brothers, and business acquaintances and people in this community. I just had one yesterday. That's part of the reason that I started talking about the interference and the intrusion. This person's been basically stalking me and those around me for 5-6 years, or I'm sorry, 4 years, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But and I got to the point, and I pulled this person up many times, and I told Morgan, I'm like, you know what? Either one or two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to hit that place again. In other words, I've done all I can in the etheric field. I might have to just pick up the phone and have my say.
Yes.
In a balanced state, right? And I've seen people do this. That's why when you were talking about this is what we're talking. You're the one that brought up talking about the fighting, right? That's going on in the community. Mm-hmm. I have noticed it. And I have talked about it, and people have talked about it over the years because we've gone through cycles like you were talking about. Mm-hmm. But what I have noticed, and maybe it's me that changed, is I'm actually seeing their sovereignty. In other words, you can expand in your sovereignty and you can still be wounded. You're not going to be the Messiah or Buddha with everything that comes out of your mouth, right? We can always say, hey, I'm sorry. But the fact that people, particularly women, because that feminine energy has been it's been suppressed even in me and men, but they're starting to speak their mind. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It is. Yeah, you can see big changes in people, folks that I used to listen to a long time ago and maybe snoozed them for a while and come back, and people are changing. We're all changing, thankfully.
Right.
Certainly there's not that many healers I know that are all done with their healing. Like, this is how many I know that are all done with their healing.
Well, yeah. Well, and and again, like, even talking about the people that hurt us. I remember getting a download that with a couple of them that have been big players in my life, right? And I was told, who would you want to play that role in your incarnation? Don't you think that it might be somebody that you're really tight with up there? You know what I mean? I mean, that would be an honor. Can you imagine, we're up there, we're in a monad, we're in a soul group, and we're standing, and we're going, okay, let's go do this. And we're like this, and I'm going to play the antagonist, that's an honor. I mean, that's an honor from this perspective that we're coming into, which is our true nature. Wow.
That's very true. The worst, or the person that hurt you the most this lifetime might be your best friend. I know it's true. That's why we really can't be truly angry at anybody.
Hey, everybody. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Showing us the biggest stuff, yeah, there's still a few around that have been really hard to live with. And I just had to say thank you for your lessons. And as long as you stay over there and I'm going to stay over here, and good for you.
That's right.
Not very many, though. I'm an Aquarius. I kind of like everybody,
Me too. Well, I think most of the people in these communities, I mean, most of them have an empathic type of makeup, and we do love everybody, and we all were doormats, and we all have trusted everybody too much, and gave people the benefit of the doubt, and then we had the pendulum doesn't just land in the 0 point like that, like a stop sign. It swings. So this is what I was referring to. It's okay to me. I mean, this is just me. It's okay what I'm seeing. People are standing up but what's also happening is it's that energy is not sticking. So it's sticking on them. It's sticking on us. And this is true for any of us with any type of belief system that we have that's from a wounded perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's that person that was mean to, even if it was the worst perpetrator in the world that did ungodly things to me, that's a physical representation of energy. And that perpetrator is no different than me, than anything else. It's all the same God, goddess, substance, right? So we either got to walk the talk or shut up. I mean, there is no middle ground, is there? There's not.
There isn't. And there's a lot of talking going on right now. People are exercising the old throat chakra, figuring out how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of us were quiet for a while because we couldn't do both things. We couldn't birth something new and work on ourselves and do our job and blabber.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, and you know what? And I hadn't thought about this. This is why I love doing this show, because you get, but that feminine voice in all of us wasn't speaking out because it'd been beaten and murdered and raped and burned and hung, and you know what I mean? So the energetics of that. And so the reason I kind of got a big smile on my face when you were saying that is because under these conditions, it's coming out now, which if you put it against the backdrop of the narrative of the world, that's pretty impressive for that voice to be coming out under duress. Mm-hmm. It's like that's sovereignty itself, right? I mean, that's like, because look, let's face it, and we can make a joke about it, but as above, so below. Let's face it. When a woman puts her foot down, you can go to your grandmother, you can go to I mean, this is most of the time, right? I mean, I mean, it's that energy. There's something about it. That energy that we had the other day. I said it several times. Imagine having a room full of a bunch of people, men and women, and you got 24 grandmothers walk in. Don't say a word, just stand against the wall. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's like you're stopping, you're looking like, okay, oh, we don't have to talk. Oh, we don't have to compete. Oh, we don't have to one up each other. Right? Yeah.
That competition stuff is really hard to take because I feel like everybody's got some beautiful jewel within them that is coming out right now. So we really aren't in competition with each other. Mm-hmm. We've all got a piece. And like you were saying earlier about nobody having the whole thing. Yeah, there's people out there that think they know the whole thing.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to wish him well. And I'll see him on the other side, right? I mean,
so
go ahead. No, all I was going to say was the other thing we have to give, and we joke about these things, and I think that's important, but anybody can instantly transform. I am not who I was yesterday. Mm-hmm. Same for you. Same for all of us. So it's another thing we got to remember about you're looking at divinity over there, Mr. Know-It-All. he's divinity too, right? So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. They did tell me that the other day. My guides did say a person can wake up at the last breath of their life.
That's right.
It's still a valid and welcome lifetime, a well done lifetime or something. I can't remember what they said.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, isn't that beautiful? Because that's what we all want to happen.
Yeah.
We want everybody.
And some people wake up on the other side. That's their choice. There's talk about a lot of people talk about people are checking out, and we've all seen it. And since, a lot of people transitioning. I mean, who's to say that that's, but the way I look at it is we've come this far. Why would we stop now? I didn't come this far just to quit now.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I do think a long time. I remember I wondered if we were going to go somewhere there for a minute. And I remember my friend saying, you're not going anywhere. They're not coming down to get you. So, but it would be nice. But of course, we can always do it in sleep. We can ask for the holy ones to come on down. We can get up on the ship, go in the med bed, do whatever you need to do.
Bring the ship to us.
Bring it to us.
I had that happen a few weeks ago. I was just like in the room, and I'm like, if I'm everywhere, then the ship's here. I'm here. I mean, God, there's nothing. It's the imagination. How do you even explain this? But like the imagination, our projections. We're getting this now. This is how it works. Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's no different than what you said a minute ago, which doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm gonna send my love to the world today. And then I'm going to be flat on my ass the rest of the day because it's going to be that big of an energetic. Well, if you tell that to somebody in the typical social norms, they're going to be like, what are you talking about, you lazy bum? But this is the new lifestyle. I'm not saying that's going to happen to us every day, but you know what I mean? It's like none of it makes any sense. But,
I do. That's why they told me I had to figure out how to manipulate those codes so it didn't wipe me out of my patootie. Because yes, if you send them to a giant room of people, or whatever it is you're doing, if you're the channel of the day for the platform and you've got 40 people in the audience, that takes you down. It does, because you're feeling everybody. You're in the midst of all that huge energy, and you have to learn how to work with that. So if anybody's listening, just keep on going. Clear yourself every day, work on yourself every day, bring through those codes. You've all got one or two or lots. Yeah.
And what's a code for you is a dragon for me. You know what I mean? Like everyone has their own. Oh yeah, put it another way. There's 8 billion people on the earth. There's 8 billion Earths. There's 8 billion different perspectives. We're all one unique and equal soul. Look, I don't know what Morgan is. I've had experiences where I've seen, 200, 300 off-planet, off-universe lives. I mean, we've had incredible experiences. I wonder, well, if there is such thing as a soul that's split, is she the other side of the soul that's split and I'm the other, right? But I don't know. But what I do know is, even if that's true, even if we came from the same soul and we split, or any two, I'm not that one. I'm this one. See? So you're still a unique fractal, right?
It makes me laugh because that stuff makes my head go, whoa, I don't get it.
Yeah, sir.
Because I understand how it works. I understand how twin flames work, and I understand how the whole thing works. And I remember a long time ago asking what the heck was 0 point, and Professor Einstein and Mr. Tesla came in and told me how to do 0 point. Because I'm pretty logical, but you got to prove it to me. So and everybody, if you're out there thinking you don't know some of the stuff you're talking about, just ask. They'll show you. Ask through your higher self. Pretty soon you'll have something standing in front of you that's going to teach you how to do it.
Yeah, right.
All you got to do.
That's right. Well, how do people get in touch with you? Where do they find you? Oh, I saw you. Yeah, you're on Facebook for one.
I'm on Facebook. Yeah, I decided to stay, even though stuff's going on. I decided I'm going to stay there and be a flashlight. But people can find me at my website, marybeckman.com. It's MaryBeckman.com. And you can find me on Facebook. You can go to Hands of Light if you want to have people pray for you and do healing all day. You can put yourself up as long as you have the okay to put the person's name on there. We don't do politics. We don't do fear porn. We don't do any of that. We've chucked people for politics and fear porn because we just don't. You can get that all day somewhere else, but not on Hands of Light. And you can I tell them about my book that just came out?
Just talk about whatever you want to.
Oh, okay. So my book is out in a couple weeks. It's called The Art of Your Energy, Galactic and Celestial Light Codes. And these light codes, there's 33 of them. And they are great for healing and empowerment. They're all about healing and empowerment. And then the Holy Ones gave me kind of this surprise the other day. They gave me an abundance code. And so I sent it out in my group of Hands of Light. I said, anybody want that? And a whole bunch of people popped on, and I've been sending it since. And people have been calling me and telling me about money and opportunities, different things that they got from the light code. And most people can feel them as they enter the body. So I would like to offer your group, the 97 people I could see, I'd like to offer them the abundance code today.
Cool.
You want to?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Actually, I'd like to give them the whole stream. This is everything. Is that cool?
That's fine.
I'm going to give you the. Okay, so everybody, all 97 of you, I'd like you to close your eyes. Take your hands and feet apart. This is just for energy flow. And we just are going to call in your higher self, our guides and guardians, Creator God, teams of light, councils, etc. Holy Ones, we thank you. We thank everybody for coming. Eyes closed, hands and feet apart. Here we go. And the last three, here comes abundance and sex and power. Thank you, Holy Ones. Thank you, 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 thank you. All right. So some of you may have felt a movement, and that's their living codes is what they are. And abundance, God bless each one of you. Hope you have tons of abundance. Somebody wants to know the Facebook page is called Hands of Light. And you can find me on Facebook, Mary Beckman, BeckManMari. Or you can meet me in the ethers.
There you go. I was just able to, I went back and, tagged you or whatever you call it. Yeah, tagged you on this. So
okay.
So that way, if somebody sees it, they can also just click that now.
Okay. Did you feel that, Todd?
Yeah, yes, I felt something, but okay. I can't really. I mean, it happens all the time. But yes, I actually saw what you were doing.
Good.
I saw, and again, I saw it. I may see it different than others, but it came in. Got my attention because a lot of people come on the show and do stuff. It's not that I don't plug in, but I do my own thing.
Yeah.
But it's not that I'm resistant, but because I do open, and I saw the geometry. I saw it, and then I know I got activated because my body does certain things when I get activated. But I also felt a very powerful. Almost like a coming up from the earth as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And now I feel lightheaded. So
okay, so if anybody feels lightheaded, the words are, I call into unity my body, mind, and spirit. You just pop out. And your brain is busy right now because you're doing like 8 things at once. So, but anybody else at home, just say, I call into unity my body, mind, and spirit.
Right on. Very good. It's a pleasure meeting you. I look forward to collaborating with you again. I'd love to meet your husband, have y'all on together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And, thanks for having me.
You take care. Yeah, thank you very, very much.
Okay.
We'll see y'all. We'll be back in 24 minutes.